Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight he's a writer, a director, a producer, Charles D. Lincoln. And also welcome back to the show, my favorite gal, Chelsea Lesage. How's it going, guys?
Hey, how you doing? Happy birthday.
Hey.
Happy birthday from all of us to you. Happy birthday. Yeah, whatever.
Hey,
that's my song for you.
Aw. I just saw your guys' messed up, wild, twisted, felt like I was riding on acid shrooms type of film, Bishops Cove.
Yeah? What'd you think of it? Tell us things.
Alright, what I thought about Bishops Cove, it kept me on the edge of my seat. It was bloody, brutal, excuse my language, fucked up, of everything, man. And Chelsea's role, she played the demonic, the nameless. You freaked the living crap out of me. The way how you just moved your body real creepy and demonic-like, and it just gave me chills up my spine.
Thank you. Didn't even have to act. No, I'm kidding. Charles is really good at directing, and that's exactly what I think he wanted. And so she was a hell of a fucking fun time to play, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I never even auditioned anybody else for the role. Like, I wrote it with Chelsea in mind.
Because I'm fucked up.
You know, like, there's certain, certain people we auditioned, people for, and then certain people I was just like, nope, that's who I like, Chelsea was always the nameless, Nana Govea was always Marquesa, and Chelsea just nailed it. Like, I wanted, my whole thing with people I work with is I want to give them different roles than I've done before. And having been Julie, the lead in 21st Century Demon Hunter, what is more different than her going from Demon Hunter to being a demon? So,
correct.
Yeah, so we decided to just go with, something just out there. And I wanted to just make her like just this being that, when she's on the screen, you're never quite sure of what awful things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like knowing me in real life. Anyway, continue.
Now, let's talk about Emily McKinley Hill. Was she your idea for Heather? I mean, she nailed that role to the T. All that torture and all that stuff she had to do with her body. Oh my gosh, she was a true trooper.
Yeah, no, Emily is, I've worked with Emily on every project that I've ever directed. Like, even back my initial crappy short film that no one will ever see because I think it's crap. Emily was one of the leads in that.
She's such a trooper.
Yeah. Emily is incredibly brave and she actually auditioned for the role though. That's the thing. Like, I in my head, I didn't really have a person in mind for Heather. So I spoke to a couple actresses we knew, and Emily just kind of, once she got that audition, she kind of just shined.
Yeah, she absolutely nailed it. The bravery, the talent of that girl, we will hire her time and time again if she'll continue putting up with what we do to her.
Yeah, Emily is a treasure. Yeah, she's...
Yeah, you put her through a lot of torturous stuff, and she was also naked a lot in the film too. So, how much preparation did she endure before she started doing this type of role? That really wear and tear. You can tell, in her.
I mean, it's not the first role she's done that's involved a lot of nudity and simulated violence and stuff. You'd have to ask her about that. What her actual preparation is. I mean, obviously, any scenes like that, I would give her. I'd break it down into a shot list and everything we wanted to do, and I would kind of hand it to her and be like, "Oh, we want to do, these like 16 things or whatever. If there's any of them that you're uncomfortable with, let me know.
We won't do them."
Yeah, and then without an argument, we just wouldn't do them. And I think there were only 2 things in the whole film. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That she was like, I'd prefer not to do that. And like, okay, great. Don't worry about it.
Such a brave, wonderful woman. And as producers, like on set with her, she always came to us with everything she needed. But like, I was surprised. I was surprised at how little she asked for things based on everything that we were doing to her every day. We're shooting long, long days. And yeah, as you said, there's a lot of nudity. I mean, I'd like to think that she's well taken care of by us because she keeps coming back.
Yeah, and one of the things with Emily is Emily and I would have conversations about the script sometimes where she'd even be like, can this be more unpleasant? Because she felt that, like, she wanted to push herself further. And so I'd be like, sure, let's, let's find ways to make this more awful. And, the fact that we would have conversations like that to me is amazing because most people want to, but Emily, I think really, I'm not going to say enjoys pushing herself, but I think that she feels it's a thing that, it's cathartic for her, at least from other interviews that we've done. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's a great actress.
Brilliant actress, brilliant soul. Yeah. Emily McKinley Hill, watch out for her.
Now, let's talk.
I mean, she was in, Oh, go on.
She was in what now? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say that she was in, Back Road before she did this, which is that movie that, they can't even release, because it was just so fucked up. And she was also in, I think it was, what was it called? Like Ted Bundy Had a Son or something like that.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, all those things. And then, so she was in my first short, which was, as I said, that was probably one of the most extreme things I've ever put together. And, no one will ever see it except in clips. In a future episode of 21st Century Demon Hunter, I repurposed parts of that short into a serial killer's home movies.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty wild. Now, let's talk about Bishops Cove, Charles. And it's mostly based about your life because you were homeless as a young kid as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when I was in my 20s, I was sleeping on subways. I was part of, and then I would go to clubs to have a place to to hang out until late at night, or sometimes you go to clubs and you look for someone to go home with, and that's how you have a bed for the night. And one night I met a friend of mine who would let all these homeless punk kids stay with her. And so sometimes there'd be 16 of us at a time, sleeping in her living room. And it was this fun but dangerous and crazy time for us all, and unfortunately some of us didn't make it out of that. Kat's death was based on a friend of mine who, last time we saw her was at this club, not a really tiny little bar called Mars Bar in the East Village. And then they found her 3 days later, dead of an overdose, and there was just so much from that life, when Heather first comes to the city and she's attacked by a guy who's trying to proposition her. That was based on a guy that we knew who was attacking. We didn't know him personally, but he was attacking my friends who were doing sex work to survive. And then what he asked her to do was based on another guy who was getting money from people for that. And so I tried to base it on as much of even the character that I play in there, Jay, is based on this Satanist drug dealer dude that we knew. The only difference is he wore fucking brown tweed and carried a fucking walking stick. And I used to refer to him as H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells.
That's what I used to call him, and he hated it. I never bought anything from him, but I had friends who were his clients. And I'd be like, oh, look, H.G. Wells is here again. And
he didn't kill you, Charles. Jesus Christ.
It's me. I had no fear of anyone. And so the only thing is when I decided to be the character, I tried the brown tweed suit, and I'm like, no, this just looks stupid. So I'll just try to make it a regular suit. But yeah, no. And that's the thing is I will never forget when I used to work at Barnes & Noble when I was homeless. And he came in one day and someone was recommending a book to him. And he was like, I'm only interested in despair. And we all just fucking laughed about that. And so I was like, that guy has to be, we have to make a character that's reflective of him and his and his wife is based on other people I knew during that time, so,
it's really cool you were able to put all these characters into one thing, too.
Yeah, it was based on just so much of my life, and then even the modern stuff. I tried to touch on a lot of issues. I don't want to spoil things, but there are a lot of issues that are important to me that I tried to put in there, and some of them that are really ugly, and I had to make them as ugly and brutal as they are in real life, So that's that's the
stay tuned to figure out all these things.
Yes.
And the cool thing I like about your film, I love how you did practical effects, what you had with your budget and filming, which, I really appreciated. I'm a big fan of practical effects. And I love how you went by that. And tell me a little bit about the makeup and then the creature makeup stuff. How'd you come up with all that?
Well,
Charles's brain.
Yeah. A lot of it were like for example, the Joyless who we see with like the extra boobs and the the face on the back of her head. She was a sketch that I made, and then my friend Natalia, who you met, we shot in her place. Remember?
Right.
Excuse me, for Demon Hunter. She is a tattoo artist, and she would take my horrible little fucking chicken scroll napkin drawings and make them into actual things that look like stuff. And then our makeup artist, our primary makeup artist, Shannon Ray Mulligan,
who's an absolute amazing work of art of a human being, and what she does is astounding. She just worked on the new Exorcist film and the latest Insidious film. She made all of these horrible things in Charles's mind come to life. Yeah. Couldn't have done it without her. And our entire crew of hair and makeup really fucking nailed it, I think, because practical is everything in my opinion too. Yeah, no,
and that's the thing. We had a big makeup, thing. We had Shannon, we had Beatrice Sniper, for one day we had Maria Mataris. I'm always not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. And just these, Rosie Castillo, just all these awesome makeup people. I'm forgetting some because we had like 3 or 4 others that worked with us.
We got really lucky.
and Chelsea can tell you about, with the Nameless, we wanted to have her progressively getting less human and more demonic with each scene you see her in. So Chelsea had more and more makeup to go with each of her scenes.
Yeah.
They were just great, because that's the thing is you see stuff like the it's not a reboot, but like the Thing prequel.
Yeah.
Where the Thing is known for its amazing practical work, and then the studio, and then that's the thing. Apparently, the prequel used practical, and then the studio made them do it all over again with CG, and it looks like crap. I think that CG can be good if it's used to enhance or fix things, because we did have some VFX. Like if there was a shot where it's like, oh, we see I didn't notice that the camera stand is in that shot, so let's digitally fix that, or stuff like that. But we it's probably 95% practical. All the stuff in there, because it was super important to us.
Yeah.
That it look authentic and it looks scary, because there's nothing that ages worse than CG.
I totally agree with you on that too. There's one scene in the movie I liked. It had great pan shots from the cinematographer and a little bit of the dark and lighting of it, which was it was the scene where Heather was walking in this room, and I love how you used the red in it too to make it feel like an atmospheric part of like the character in the scene.
Yeah.
Where she's walking around all these dead, cut up bodies. It kind of reminded me of walking with her through Leatherface's, Meat Locker.
Yeah. That scene. We actually used Joshua Torrey and Designs to Deceive, who are made. They work on they worked on Happy and Gotham and all this just amazing cool stuff, and they worked with us pretty much because they didn't have as much work because of COVID. So they gave us a great deal that we would have never been able to afford them outside of COVID time.
Thank you, COVID? No.
Yeah. No. I mean, all those people who died, their sacrifice helped make this film. But
yes.
But yeah, no, it was just so important.
We got lucky again.
What's really funny in that scene, by the way, is there actually are real people in there as corpses, but we're never going to say which ones are the bodies and which ones are the pieces that Designs to Deceive brought. We were thankful that we had some people who were able to stand very still Because I legitimately, unless I'm looking at it in slow motion, can't tell which is which on some of the shots, and I kind of love that. Practical always
forever.
Anything that we can do where we can do it practically, we'll do practically. I mean, we just saw the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and there's my favorite shot in the original film is when Heather, I keep calling her Heather. It's Heather Langenkamp.
Nancy.
And Nancy is in bed, and Freddy is reaching through the wall towards her.
Yes.
In the original,
they put up latex, and that's what they use to simulate the wall, and it's this wonderful practical effect.
Terrifying in the original.
And then in the remake, they tried to recreate that with CG and make Freddy, coming out of the wall really quickly, and he goes around, and it looks awful.
Yeah.
It really looks awful, and you lose so much with CG. And in fact, as one of my favorite movies from the 90s was Event Horizon. And then I saw it recently, and oh my God, is the CG in that aged horribly.
Yeah, that is kind of fun to look back and look at things and be like, oh, I thought this is, everything at the time.
I totally agree with you. There's a bunch of movies I'll go back, I grew up in the 80s watching 80s horror. You go back and you thought it was really cool, and you go back and go, this is very cheesy and it's lame looking.
Yeah, well, that's like I said, when we were watching Nightmare on Elm Street, we're just so many of these effects still work. And they were done, in 84, right? So that's, I don't know, I'm bad with math, but 100 years ago. And, all these effects were, and the thing, once again, done in the 80s, and great practical effects. And yet, as I said, with Event Horizon, awesome movie, made it 98, 96, whatever. You see it now, and it's oh my God, all these scenes that were so cool when I first saw them now look like bad PS1 cutscenes.
Now, let's talk about the score and the soundtrack in the film. I loved the punk music because, I grew up, during the punk days in California during the 80s and early 90s. Because I loved punk and grunge. I loved the punk music in it, and I also loved the film score in it. It kind of was like a thriller noir, kind of creepy Hitchcocking type of music, all wrapped into one.
Yeah, that was by David Denyer. He's this wonderful English musician who, when we did our initial Indiegogo campaign, he approached us about, I really like he saw the body pit scene. And he was like, "Well, I really want to be part of this. Are you guys looking for someone to do your score?" And I said, we'll keep your information. And when we had more of the film done, by then we had a few people talk to us about being the composer. So we sent each of them 2 scenes. Mm-hmm. And what David did just blew away everybody else's. David just made this amazing stuff. And then with the as far as the little jazzy Hitchcockian things, those were because when we watched those scenes, so many people would comment, when we did focus testing or, among horror fans and stuff. So many people would comment on how Lynchian those scenes were, because David Lynch is also a huge influence to me. So I was like, you know what, if we're going to do these kind of violent, sexual, fucked up, David Lynch inspired scenes, we might as well go all the way with it. And, go with the kind of Angelo Badalamenti, kind of thing for it. I absolutely love how there's the saxophone just going insane during it. That was one of my favorite things on there. And the fact that David was able to compose that, because like I said, I'm a musician, Chelsea's a musician. With Demon Hunter, we did the score for it. I'm sorry, I did the score for that, and then you did one song. You did 2 songs on it, and on Teresa and Allison, we did the score for that together. Yeah. So we're composers as well, but with Bishops Cove, there was stuff that I was like, well,
we can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
We know our own limitations sometimes.
Yeah, and so that's why I was like, we have to go to someone else for this one.
He had like a live orchestra, and he just went above and beyond. And again, I feel like the theme of this right now is that we just keep getting fucking lucky. We got really lucky with this, and we feel incredibly grateful. We never, like, we're really excited to show the world this movie as soon as we can.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is he did, like, as soon as he's like, I'm in Northern England, I can do like stuff with an orchestra. I'm like, oh my god, well, let's definitely, and once we heard what he did, we knew this was the guy for us.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. And I also have to say, not spoiling everything, I just want to say I love the twist towards the ending of the film. That was like a major curveball. I loved it, and I had a big smile. I was like, hell yes. That ending just threw me off, but I thought it was like unique and original.
Well, thank you.
We love that. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
it was really fun to do.
Yeah, movie like this, you gotta, throw people some curveballs and make sure that, everyone's on their toes the whole time, and that they're never complacent. So it's a movie that, like I said, I'm very proud of. I'm sure we as producers are proud of it, and I hope Chelsea as an actress is proud of it.
Hell yeah, motherfucker!
And I also want to give a shout out to our second unit director, because the scenes that I was in, I did not direct. Those were directed by Madison Humes, who you can see in 21st Century Demon Hunter as the character of Desiree. Yes. And having her there was great, because I'll tell you, I love acting. I started when I first got into this industry, it was as an actor. And I love directing, which, believe me, if you had talked to me 20 years ago, I would never, when I did film school and it made me think that directing would have driven me insane, I never would have thought that. But I don't love doing them together.
Yeah, directing yourself is difficult. As someone who we've both done it, we've both directed ourselves, and it's rough. Yes.
Yeah.
Madison, we love you.
Yeah, like I did that with that one episode of Demon Hunter where I directed myself in that, and afterwards, I was like, I'm never doing that again. I hated it. Because I had to break character immediately and be like, let me look at the shots and see if everything's right. And it kills, as an actor, it kills the momentum you've created. It kills the mood that you've gotten yourself into for your character. So having Madison there to actually direct, and I literally didn't have to focus on anything except just playing, another fucking scumbag.
We love that.
Yeah, with Willow and Anna, and it was such a big help, and I think that scene is so incredibly intense, and Madison has to get credit for what she was able to bring out of us on that. Yeah. So I definitely wanted to do that, and
we love you, Madison. Come back.
We haven't worked with her since COVID, and we miss her. So
Yes.
So how did it go well? I know you showed it at the film festivals. How did it go well with the audience?
People who see it love it. People who watch it, I've literally only heard one person out of everyone we've ever shown it to, whether it's a festival, whether it was the screening, whether it was focus testing. I've literally only ever heard one person who didn't like it, and all her opinions were weird, so I don't count them.
It's basically, you anticipate seeing, it's kind of like, I've heard that it's like, people view it as kind of like two separate movies, and the molding of the two movies into one works seamlessly, I've been told, where you start off with this very realistic story about addiction and homelessness and like youth in New York City during that era, and turning into this psychological like fuck show of horror movie.
Yeah.
And how they mold together. I don't know. We're really proud of it. Charles's brain is fucked up, but that's why I work with him, and we love it. We love it, and we really, really can't wait for everyone to see it. Yeah, people have not complained. They've only complained because they've been disturbed by it, and that's what we want.
Yeah. That's the thing is I'd rather people come out of a movie. I would rather people come out of a movie and remember it. Like, if they love it, if they hate it, whatever, as long as they remember it. And this is a movie that we purposely made sure is something people will remember. And thankfully, most people have loved it. Yeah. But even if they hated it, you know what? They'll remember it. Yeah, and they're like, oh my God, that movie, it was, Emily revealed that her, on the podcast that I did with her, that when her little sister that she brought to the premiere had nightmares after seeing the film. So, we're glad that we're terrorizing young people.
We're having an effect on people's lives because we care.
But that's the thing is, I also think that there might be people who are going through some of the stuff in the film.
Yeah.
And or can relate to certain things, and hopefully it can be helpful to them. Yeah.
In some way.
To let them know that life can be fucked up and hard, and and maybe there's a better way. This movie is about people doing the wrong thing for what they consider the right reason.
Yep.
Maybe some people can maybe do the right thing after seeing this. So who knows? Yeah.
So where can everybody find you on social media and find out when they can check out Bishops Cove?
Chelsea, you want to go first?
Yeah, so you can find me on chelsea.lesage on Instagram and chelsealesage.com. You can find Charles and I together at CL Squared Productions on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We have a lot more shit in the works, and go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, and you can find me at charles.d.lincoln on Instagram. You can also find my channel on YouTube, Charles D. Lincoln, one word. I just put up a short film that I did with one of the cast of 21st Century Demon Hunter, and who also has two of the Bishops Cove actresses in it, Sarah Sherman and Harley Del Cogliano. You can find our stuff on there. And you can find also the YouTube channel, like I said, CL Squared Productions. Mm-hmm. We'll be making announcements about more screenings in the new year. And so it's we have a lot coming up, and we're working hard to make sure everyone has a really unpleasant experience.
Amen.
Amen to that. You guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me back. Yeah,
hey,
it was so fun. I'm happy this worked out.
I'll definitely have you guys back on, especially you, Chelsea. I will always love you, Chelsea.
It's the hair. It's the hair. I know.
Oh, I know. It's the hair. We know.
That'll be great. Thank you for having us, babe.
Yeah, and everybody, thank you for listening to Horror Pop After Midnight.